Hi, my name is Alex. This presentation is a part of an assessment for Charles Sturt University in a subject called Emerging Technologies, where we had needed to pick a topic of interest within our field. I chose smart contracts, so I will be putting a case for a standalone smart contract vulnerability detection application forward. I'll be talking specifically about Ethereum smart contracts. So let's talk about crypto. Currently it's a market cap of $1 trillion. $1 trillion market cap, it means if all cryptocurrencies were to be sold at their current price, that would be the total cost would come up to 24-hour volume, $40 billion on average being traded every day. For example, $40 billion, $50 billion, $60 billion, $70 billion being traded every day. What does this mean? Hackers have a pretty big incentive to find vulnerabilities and exploit them, where they are taking upwards of $500 million in a hack. This year's biggest, 2022's biggest exploits were, let's have a look, Binance Smart Chain, $560 million. That would have been a cross-chain bridge, yes. Ronin, $550 million. That would have been another bridge that got exploited. Bridges are where someone exchanges one token for another, or for example Bitcoin to Ethereum or backwards. FTX, there's no known vulnerability there that's been released. With the bankruptcy of FTX, most likely some kind of insider theft. Wormhole, decentralized finance protocol, most likely another breach. So what's happening there? Bug bounties. You've got your black hat hackers getting lots of money, and now you have your white hat hackers looking and working on bug bounties. That's where people are getting paid to find vulnerabilities and exploits in different smart contracts, from $10 million, $3 million, all the way down, 500,000, all the way down to $1,000. That's one way. Companies are hiring bounty hunters. Another way is a code arena, where a team of a crowd will come together and work on a contest where not only one person wins a large amount of money, they pull it all together, and depending on how many vulnerabilities you find, you get paid. For example, they have a lot of documentation on their reports, and they show you different reports of previous ones. For example, Blur Exchange, that's a OpenSea competitor. There was one high risk finding, direct theft of buyers' ETH funds, multiple medium risks and low risk critical issues. For example, we look at the high risk one. It was a re-entrancy attack, which is one vulnerability I will talk about soon. And of course these bounty hunters, they use tools which I found in the 12 journal articles. Okay, so what is Ethereum? It's a blockchain technology founded by Vitalik Buterin and co-developed by him. and then launched in 2015. It was the first crypto to come up with the idea of smart contracts. It's not something that Bitcoin can do yet. I've heard that they're going to at some stage. It's allowed developers to deploy smart contracts and create decentralized applications, also known as dApps. So look at Ethereum. It's their website, Ethereum website. They gave some code examples. Create your own bank, some Solidity code or own currency, different examples of code. As for smart contracts, what are they exactly? So they enable automatic triggered transactions between trustless parties. A new finance industry named DeFi, decentralized finance, has risen from the enablement of automated financial transactions without the need of the bank. So you can send money directly to a recipient without using a bank. Or tracking service DeFi Llama showed us $49 billion locked into DeFi services. If we have a look at that, we can see $46 billion today. There's different types of DeFi. There's liquid staking, where if you have some tokens, you can give it to them and they can use it as liquidity. Also lending applications, like, for example, a loan shark, they will lend you money or crypto and you need to return it with interest. And if you lend it to that smart contract, you will get a dividend of profits. There's also been other innovation in healthcare industries, patient data management, insurance, and medical research. What's Solidity? It is developed by the core contributors of Ethereum blockchain. It's a language developers use to write smart contracts. It's the most popular one. Not only works on Ethereum, also works on other Ethereum-derived blockchains such as Binance. Solidity there, out of their website. They give you code examples, ERC20, and that would be what a bytecode would look like, not really readable by humans. Methodology, I started with IEEE Explore Digital Library and the ACM Digital Library. Did a search and came up with, I did a search for smart contract vulnerabilities and created a research project called Emerging Technologies, found 22 of them. Then I filtered it down to journals no earlier than 2021. Did some further reading of them, not all of them, not the whole document, but only a small amount to determine whether I would add it to my project. So some vulnerabilities, vulnerabilities, the whole idea is to steal currency from a smart contract or exchange or bridge. There's different types. There's timestamp, dependency, reentrancy, which seems to be the most common, and all the others. The tools within those 12 journal articles that I found were redefine gas, fiber code, NetGBD, NetPluto, EtherVec, DFAT, Choker, Escort, gas gauge. Some of these tools, they're static analysis tools where they're just testing a .sol file without running it against a database of known vulnerabilities. There's also dynamic tools where they actually create a virtual blockchain on a local machine and run it there. For example, they would use Ganache, create Ethereum on their local machine and deposit ETH and run smart contracts on there to see what happens. And then there's hybrid. Obviously, it can do static and dynamic testing. I had some research questions. What are the most common smart contract vulnerabilities? Previously, so that you saw what tools are available and how successful are they. You saw the tools previously that were in those journal articles. Are there any up-to-date open source tools? You'll see in the next slide. What kind of knowledge you need to be able to audit a smart contract or use one of the tools at least. Are there any opportunities to bring the use of these tools to end users? So, you know, data sources authors were using was the Ethereum mainnet. They would scrape smart contracts from there, or Etherscan, or GitHub. For example, this is PancakeSwap. It's a bridge contract where you can swap tokens. For example, if you wanted Ethereum and you had Bitcoin, you could swap some Bitcoin to get Ethereum. Have a look at the contract here, and that is the Solidity file with the contract data in it, or contract code, sorry, which you could test. Some data sets were created by third parties that, you know, they collate like thousands of contracts for tools to test against. Data coverage usually no earlier than 2017 had a minimum amount of ether in the contract address, minimum lines of code, minimum loops or keywords, no empty contracts or duplicates. Some techniques that uses fuzzing, neural networks, machine learning, or manually. These are some vulnerabilities they were testing against. The tools that were in those journal articles are listed there. The performance was rated, you know, with an F1 score, true positives, etc., and speed. Output would show a number of vulnerabilities found on the data set compared to other tools, using comparison tables and bar charts. So yeah, the tool names, if they tested on bytecode or Solidity, which language it was written in, Python, JavaScript, Go, was how long it took to test, accuracy, you know, how accurate it was, and what vulnerabilities they tested for. Characteristics of the tools: static, dynamic, hybrid, intra-contract, meaning whether they test a single contract or another contract that the main contract will be interacting with, whether it finds defects, not just vulnerabilities, or whether they offer any code repair on those defects that they find, and whether it was open source or not, yes or no, and their competitors. Tools that I found are 55% open source, 44% proprietary. However, of those open source tools, none of them are maintained within the year, which was disappointing. So I needed to do a little bit more research to find state-of-the-art tools, which were found. Mithril, Manicore, Slither, Echidna, all updated within a month. A lot of contributors, forks, for example. Mithril, updated 4 days ago. 74 contributors. Another one, sorry. Slither, updated January 12th. Yeah, a lot of contributors, over 100 contributors. Future work, I believe, is essential for these open source tools to continue to be developed, maintained. Makes it easier to audit a smart contract for end users and developers to create a safer environment. Downsides of research carried out by journal articles is that due to the fast-paced development of new security tools, some of them weren't peer-reviewed, or if they were peer-reviewed, they're peer-reviewed in 2020, 2019, which I filtered out. I guess best way to find the state-of-the-art tools would be to use communities to see what people in the industry are actually using. there's no literature mentioning any tool that either aggregates open source tools or any tools that have a standalone interface on my initial research. Conclusion, yes, some fork tools showed results being better than others than their main repository. However, those fork tools either had no public repository or hadn't been maintained over a year, whereas the main one is being maintained. Comparing those tools side by side, I didn't really put much weight on the results because they're all using different data sets at different times. The test data was aged. Wasn't really possible to find conclusive, non-biased results because the data sets were chosen by the authors, and they have a outcome they're wishing for, and it's not calculated by a third party, so I didn't really put much weight on that. I think smart contract testing tools do have value. However, a smart contract auditor will be using tools just at the start, and they're still going to need to go line by line, usually thousands of lines of code, and understand how the smart contracts are working to find vulnerabilities not found by any tools. Some references, just some outtakes. I did find a smart bugs. It supports 19 tools. However, there's no user interface. It's all command line. So perhaps there is a case for a standalone software. Thank you.